Back once again in the COVID-19 state of depression. I just read an article, man, and finally the evidence has been released about your lightweight WBA champion, Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis, as you all know it, he had an incident with his baby's mother back then, and that incident made news headlines all over. What was said and what was seen pretty much matches up to everything, and that is he walked up to the mother of his child. I don't like to say baby's mother because it just puts us in a stereotypical categorization. So, you know, he walked up to his baby's mother and snatched her up and took her out back. And that's where the video pretty much ends, because it was media from a patron who was attending the game. But now the video has surfaced. And that's what I got to bring you, the fight fans. I want to talk about the video itself and what you think about it. And, you know, this is nothing against Gervonta. It's news. It's out there in the public, so we're going to talk about it. So check this out. The video released via TMZ, of course. And check out what happened, and you tell me what you think about Gervonta Davis' actions in this matter. So this is what was seen. If you go back, this is Gervonta, you know, walking up to his baby mother, grabbing her by the collar and snatching her up. And this is from a different angle, totally from what we seen initially. So he's walking her back to the end point on what we initially seen in the media. Now it's going to switch to the backside. I'm going to stop it. You see the arrow right here, and you see Gervonta Davis that's right there in the same outfit that you just seen from the front side view, right? So I guess they're heading back to pretty more the dressing room, locker room area. Let's continue. You just seen Gervonta Davis swing. And it's alleged that it may have been his girl, right? And a lot of people are saying it was his girl that he swung on. Now, for those of you that's seeing this for the first time, you might say to yourself, like, well, how can you say that's his girl? It could be somebody else. Well, the next, when I continue to play the video, you're gonna see him with his girl, or his baby's mother, the mother of his child, in his grasp. Just like you will hold on, a man will hold on to another man when they're fighting. Watch as it play out. He drags her. He still has her by her hair. You saw that? He drags her in by her hair. And people are trying to separate them. Let me go back one more time. He had punched her before, and he drags her in by her hair. Run through this again. He's coming from the front side to the back. He swings. And then he has her by her hair. While, you know, whoever his entourage and people was trying to break it up. So at this point, they break it up, and Gervonta confronts this other guy who I really don't know who the dude is. You know how it gets when you're a celebrity and you have individuals just trying to, you know, make sure they get it on video. I've been through this sequence before. Not everyone is just trying to get, you know, a video for their own personal, you know, to sell it to TMZ or whatever. But this particular guy was approached by Gervonta for recording. He seemed pretty obvious. So the guy steps back. Of course, another brother pulling up his jeans before he got there and fight. It's just hilarious. Gervonta is, you know, I don't think he was that stupid to even swing on no boy. If he could have, he would have. But check out what happens next. The guy backs up, put the phone away. Now that there's security, he steps in between. Old boy pulls his pants up and goes back towards Gervonta. No, when you was right there in close proximity, right here, you could have did what you had to do. Come on, man. Anyway, back to Gervonta. So the security moves him back, and there's two different problems going on. Like now he has a guy that was a bystander recording, and then you have the security breaking it up with some other people. Now also you have the female here with the tangerine hair, with the old school shorts on, you know, stunting. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit of chaos back there. Let me go to the front side of the video again. When Gervonta makes it across, that's him right there. He snatches her up, take it to the back. And I guess where the bottleneck happens of them going from the front side to the back, in that particular area by the door, potentially Gervonta allegedly swings on somebody. And they saying it was his girl because he still has her by the hair. You know what I'm saying? He has her close by in the clinch. So let me stop this and read what TMZ said. It said previously Gervonta Davis turned himself into the police after he was seen snatching up his mother of his child while at the basketball game. Now more footage has surfaced of the incident, and Davis can be seen allegedly taking a swing at the woman before many others spilled out of the entryway to the hallway of the venue. Once Davis swings, a few seconds later, the woman can be seen going after the boxer. Not too long after that goes down, another man, and Davis almost get into an altercation. And that's sort of like a close-up right there of Gervonta, you know, grasping the hair of the mother of his child, pulling her out. We really don't know the details of why he was so angry, was she supposed to be there, who she was there with, and what was the reason for him acting the way he did. So my question to you is, I mean, how does boxing recover from this? I know Gervonta Davis has already been in to face booking charges or whatever, and I know he's probably waiting on his appointment to go into court and see what the repercussions are going to be. But for the sport of boxing, real talk, for the sport of boxing in general, we know we've seen pretty much domestic violence. This isn't the first time we've seen domestic violence from boxers in general. But right now, in this time with, you know, the previous Me Too movement and all these women that's coming to vouch for other women, we're seeing Harvey Weinstein get convicted of 23 years. Bill Cosby, I think around 8 years. Charlie Sheen's still free, but hearing what he did, it's so many people that's out here having situations with women, and it's considered abusive, right? So when it comes to the sport of boxing, or combat sports in general, do you believe something more should be done in the sport when it comes to fighters and their spouses or the mother of their child? Because they're family, regardless, they're family. When at the end of the day, they're family, right? But since boxing has been around for so long with domestic abuse cases, do you think it's going to be something that they start taking more strict measures to prevent, or making fighters face a penalty or suspension for being involved with domestic cases such as this? Because it does make the sport look bad, and also the fighter himself. The victim, when it comes down to a boxer or combat sport pugilist, whenever you see it, that particular fighter is engaging with the woman, that fighter is always going to look the worst. You can guarantee it. That fighter is always going to look the worst, y'all. It doesn't matter if the woman is a fighter. We just seen in mixed martial arts where two women, Rachel Ostovich, man, very beautiful woman. Her husband and her had a real bad situation where she basically said he tried to kill her. I mean, she's a beautiful woman. I'm not sure what happened. They had kids together, everything, right? And he's still locked up. He's absolutely still locked up. We just had an incident with a bare knuckle fighter and her boyfriend, I believe. I'm not going to mention her name because, you know, I do have interaction with her periodically. But she had a situation where her boyfriend attacked her. And even though she's a fighter and she's fought on the highest level, the male is always going to look the worst in that situation, that equation, because it's a female. Seriously, we can go on and on about females that's been fighters. And I always like to tell people this. The human body in general, for the male or female, if you take punishment, you're going to act different. If you're in here in the boxing community or in mixed martial arts or any type of full contact sport, if you're taking punishment in your head and body, you're going to act different. That goes for females too. There's no difference. Cyborg had a situation. You know what I'm saying? At one point in time. I don't know the entire, like I said, the fine details, but they had a situation. You know, Matt Hughes, apart from his retirement from mixed martial arts, he was having situations domestically. It's been so many people that have domestic problems that's in full contact sports. When are they going to, you know, kind of step up and do something about it? Like, they probably look at it like these are fighters. They're going in there, risking, putting their life on the line, you know, and risking the health of their well-being. And we should kind of show them with a little bit more courtesy. No, I mean, something should be done about it. You know, provide some therapy, make sure they're getting therapy in between fights, especially mixed martial artists who's being kicked in the head, elbowed in the head, and punched in the head with 4-ounce gloves. It definitely should be something done about it, just for the well-being of the fighter and whoever their family or spouse is. We look back on the Benoit case. You know what I'm saying? A wrestler that I grew up watching all the damn time. Benoit ended up killing his wife and his kid. It's a sad case. You know, I've seen Gervonta in person. You know, I know that means nothing, but really I hope he gets his stuff together and really don't allow a situation like this to reoccur out in public. You know what I'm saying? Because this makes him look extremely bad. But since he's in the sport of boxing, he's a part of the culture. I'm not sure how people are going to look at it. You know, I don't think they're going to look bad about it too much. Like, they're going to look at this as something that's already come and gone. This is just another video showing a different angle. He's going to go in there. He's going to get the fine or whatever the punishment. I don't think he's going to do any jail time, because really it depends on who's around him that night and who's willing to go in there and testify against the champ. That's what it's really about. Who is willing to go and testify against the champ on what they've seen? It can't be the guy that he was about to fight at the end just from recording him, because he wasn't there at the entry point. He wasn't there. So he can't say anything that he's seen except when Gervonta came through the door and he had the mother of his child by her hair. That's all he can say. He didn't see no punches. It's hard for anybody that was on the other side of that door to see who he actually punched. Only the people that was directly around Gervonta Davis would know if he punched her or not. So we wait and see who's going to do what. You know what I'm saying? Who's going to make it a point to stand up and make some changes? Because it's only going to get worse. I'm not saying I haven't seen it, but it happens in the military too, man. Like, real talk, it happens with military service members who's been in combat, going through PTSD. They have freaking sometimes domestic problems. Military, we are big for having domestic problems. You know, domestic cases. Really, I know it's not talked about as much, but it's true. You know, you're sending military personnel over there 2, 3, 4 times in the combat zone. Yeah, they're going to combat different each time. They're only going to get deteriorated much more. They come back with a problem and then they return with the problem. Compile more combat on them and they return back to their family worse than it was the first time. So since you cannot sit up here and deny a deployment, you have to return back over there to combat. So if you're looking to pick up rank and you don't want any bad paper, you have to go. So you pick up, you go over there for a third time. They're not really concerned about you saying that, well, my household is bad right now. I really can't go over there. That's not a perfect time. Say, well, if you don't go over here, you're going to face, consequences. We're going to send you up for NJP, a court martial, whatever the case may be, unless you can medically have a reason not to go on this deployment. And most of the time, man, as service members, I'm not going to lie. If we're trying to pick up rank and we can have a bad situation going on at home, I can't speak for all service members, but sometimes we believe it's best for us to go away from the household back into combat so we can be separated from our families and be in an environment that's more suitable for what we're trying to do, because we're all there for the mission, right? So if we leave the families, hopefully when we come back, maybe the wife will be a bit better. Maybe we can get along better. Maybe our relationship is a whole lot more healthier, because you've been on deployment. And that's just like something that's unspoken in the military. But back to Gervonta, man, I want the brother to get it together, because I remember somebody saying that Gervonta will probably lose versus Gervonta. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude has all the freaking talent in the world. He's a 3-time world champion. And the only person right now that's going to beat him is Gervonta Davis. That's basically what we're seeing right here. And unfortunately, for these culture-driven young fighters that's out here, people are not going to pay them too much mind because they're saying, "Oh, it's just a part of the culture." That's what we should expect from them. They're young, immature, they'll get over it. But when it's out in the media such as this, it's a problem. When you're getting arrested multiple times and you have a kid to support, it becomes real bad. Line killers say Davis needs professional help in various areas. I'm just wondering if all the people that's around Gervonta Davis, I mean, who's talking to him? Where are the OGs? Where are the mentors? Where's all the people that's supposed to be talking to this guy? Like, come on, just holler at, just give this guy a hand. If he turns it down, at least you knew you reached out. But we're gonna see a lot of our young black fighters, man, face a reckoning. You know, they're going to face the worst part of losing everything that they ever worked for. You know, they're going to come in here and they're going to try hard. They're going to want to be where they at. They love all the amenities come with it, the money and all that. But I'm just thinking once they have received the money, it's nothing else to it. It's no religion. You know, it's nobody to sit them down maybe once every 2 weeks or once a week to just try to make sure they're still good, keeping them tight. You know what I'm saying? So they won't go out here and recklessly throw away everything that they work for. And of course, I don't care about the money. That's up to them on what they do with the money. But we're pretty much talking about how to keep them close and out of trouble, keep them fundamentally stable, educated. D. Hodges said he going down the Broner Road. You know, I used to, you know, Hodges, I used to make this point about Broner. I can't say that for this case. I said every time Broner get ready to go into a fight, he's going to get arrested. He's going to get something. But Broner isn't scheduled for a fight. So him getting this, okay, first of all, let me back up a little bit. All right. Broner put out a video about going through TSA, right? And look, Broner is Broner, man. He's a funny dude, man. But he put out a video going through TSA, and he was talking about, you know, the gay men shouldn't be allowed to work TSA. And he felt that the man was filling him up, and he wasn't searching for contraband, but he was searching for dick. That's Broner's word in quote, right? So he just put out the video. He was in the airport waiting, blah, blah, blah. So then the news flash come out, the AP broke that Broner was arrested in Miami for DUI. So I'm guessing that was where he was headed to when he was in the airport. You know what I'm saying? One way or the other, Agent Broner brought Gervonta into the camp of, he introduced him to Floyd Mayweather, from my understanding, right? Somebody's going to have to get these brothers, if they're willing to listen, they're going to have to bring them together somehow, some way, not with the stereotypical, like, let me talk some knowledge to you. Whenever you're talking about knowledge, it's going to come off as that, and people are going to, you know, absorb it as freaking knowledge. It's going to be very suitable to you. It's going to be healthy, and you're going to absorb it as you see fit. But with these guys, you need a different method. You know, you got to just say, hey, I'm just trying to help you get on a stable track moving forward. Not too much to kick knowledge, you know, because in this damn time, when you tell a black youth, come out, hey man, come in so I can kick some knowledge to you, they just don't want to hear that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So you got to speak to them in a way that's different. You got to let them know everything that they're throwing away, that they're squandering right now. You have to just let them know that, hey, this is how important it is for you to turn your life around right now. You have to mention the kids, because obviously when they're going out here in the street, they're not worrying about their kids. They're not worrying about the kids, man. We always talk about these kids in the system because their parents, mother and father wasn't there. But yet I don't hear people across the landscape trying to talk to these young men and tell them, hey, your family is important. You know, from my understanding, Broner got like 5 or 6 kids. His kids is important. He has to continue to make money. So him getting DUIs, he's probably gonna have to come out the pocket. I know in California it's like 8 to 10 bans, right? So I'm not sure how much he's gonna come out the pocket in legal fees, but it's gonna be several thousand. And then, of course, he may have to serve community service. I don't know the whole extent, but this is something we don't need right now. Line Killer say personal development is something that generally happens during early childhood, leading to young adulthood. It's a continuous process. When you haven't even had the most base basic sense of this. I remember growing up when they used to talk about what you just mentioned about early childhood. There's a critical learning period that we go through where we understand cognizantly on what we're supposed to do, not the right from wrong type of deal, but really processing and troubleshooting. And that critical period is around 4 or 5 years old. And if you don't think a kid can be pretty much distracted during that period and learning what that cognizant period is about, you're sadly mistaken. If kids are subjected to that lifestyle at an early age, to the point that's all they know and see, then they continue to carry that 7 years old, 8 years old, all the way up to a teenager. Look at the old video of Adrian Broner. He basically telling the reporter straight to her face, like, hey, you know, if I wasn't boxing, I'd probably be out here doing this. And then the reporter was like, nah. I mean, he was serious because that's what he knows. He was keeping it 100. That's what he freaking knows, man. These fighters, athletes have to grow up fast because they are a valuable commodity to someone or some entity. They care little for personal development. Less is interferes with their investment. Good point there, Line Killer, for real. And investment, speaking of investments, I mean, you have a product. Where is Floyd Mayweather and everybody else that can just keep these cats in line? That's where people look at you and say, how much of a leader are you? Like when they look at Muhammad Ali, right, they consider him as a leader. The reason why they consider Muhammad Ali as a leader, because even though not going into the military this day and time for a draft, you are considered a conscientious objector, right? You're frowned upon. You're called a traitor. But back then, Muhammad Ali said, I wasn't going to the war because they didn't do anything to me. So you sending me to Nam, why am I going over there? That has nothing to do with me. So people respected Ali for that. Also, they respected him outside, you know, being kicked out the sport, being on suspension, and being an activist outside of being an athlete. What we're seeing with these young men, Broner and Gervonta and many others, is that the purpose that they have is for the culture. The purpose they have is to have the most money, to continue to earn millions of dollars just so people can look at them as being a millionaire, and they can do it for the culture. I mean, that's where we at right now. I'm not saying they don't do for people. Seriously, I'm not saying they don't do and give out and give back to the community. But when you give back to the community, also you need to give back to yourself. You really need to think about yourself and what you're doing for your family. Line Killer say, listening to David speak and seeing him act in public, it's like watching a 13-year-old child. He doesn't operate mentally as an adult, behaviorally immature. Hey, when I talk to Line Killer, when I talked to Davis on the apron down here in the ATL, he talked about how his daughter matured him. You know what I'm saying? Like at that time, having a baby, man, they do a lot for a person sometime. And he said his daughter had matured him as a man. Like, I have to go back to this. You have to think about your freaking family, man. You have to mature, man. Kat Taylor said, champion Adrian Broner will pull publicity stunts to the extent that he'll pay all fines happily from the world's #1 boxer fan. I mean, that's what I was saying, that Kat Taylor. Shout out to Kat Taylor, #1 boxing fans, you know. I mean, that's what I was saying about Adrian Broner. The man is smarter than what people think. Seriously, Adrian Broner is smarter than what people think, right? He just tends to go out here in public. He just was arrested for trespassing in Vegas. And before that, he had multiple arrests. And now, you know, he gets in on the video and talking about TSA and talking about the dude was looking for something else other than contraband. And he goes down to Miami and gets a DUI. Like, answer me this, y'all. It's all about billions, right? So why couldn't you get somebody to chauffeur you around? When are these athletes going to Miami and everywhere else driving? Usually, if you got the bag, you pay somebody to chauffeur you around, man. That's the way it is. But look, and then I look when he was down here in the A. Adrian Broner was driving. I'm telling you for what I know. When he was down here in the A, Adrian Broner was driving. Adrian Broner may be that guy that likes driving himself around. That's all I'm saying. Cat Taylor say only a few fighters of this generation are leaders. This generation focus only getting the bands. Yeah, that's what I was saying, man. I can't deter from that. We really need to do something different about this. I don't know what we can do because, to be honest, a lot of youth in general, it don't matter if they black, white, whatever. A lot of youth, they don't want to freaking sit down and learn how to make money and have that money coming in while you sleep. Because Warren Buffett said, if you're not making money while you sleep, you will always be broke. So if you look at the way things are going right now for the culture, you have a lot of freaking young cats willing and able to talk about how they're going to make money, but they just don't know how that process is going to work for them. They don't know physically how they're going to go out and make this shit happen. They'll talk about it. They'll get a little money, go to the store, buy some new gear, and then look the part, get on IG, Snapchat, and everything else, Facebook, and they'll flaunt it. But when it comes down for them making money while they're asleep, they just don't have the work ethic. Like, they just don't have the work ethic to keep it going. We're not talking about strictly boxing. We're talking about in general. You know what I'm saying? Where are the OGs at? Where are the mentors to keep these guys out of jail? We can't say, well, the system is full of all young men. It's full of young black men. We hear it all the time. But then we see these young black men out here. I really don't hear people reaching out. You know what I'm saying? I don't hear these people just crying, screaming and say, please, let's help these young black men. Let's help these young youth that's out here getting in trouble. Let's do it. Let's come up with something to bring these cats together and talk to them. It's plenty of OGs out there that, Broner and Gervonta will listen to. I don't think it's Floyd, but I truly believe it is some OGs out there. Seriously. It's just all about if they choose to want to, absorb, retain, you know what I'm saying? And take it for thought, man. This lifestyle has changed. And we're going to continue to see bad things happen if some don't straighten up with this. Like I said, I can't sit up here and condone Gervonta what he did with the mother of his child, but just say he would have swung, and if he would have came through the door just by himself, it would have been different. But now the public is gonna re-elevate the criticism that they was giving Gervonta for snatching her up. Now they're gonna say, you know what? Damn, he's punching her, and he's a professional fighter. You know what I'm saying? He's punching her, and he's a professional fighter who just went 12 rounds against another professional fighter, and he's one of the hardest hitters in the sport of boxing. That's why they're going to give Gervonta hell. Like I said, not denying what you're conveying from your interview, yet these actions represent those of an individual less forward thinking. I mean, that's a solid point. I hear you. Really, I hear you. You must be on a multi-stream. Yeah. I am on a multi-stream. D Hard just said, I'm 40. I got a lot of little goons. They don't listen. Facts. The one thing about these goons this day and time is that they will sit out here and commit an act that will ruin them damn near for the next 10 to 20 years. all for credibility out there on the slab. You know what I'm saying? Like they would go out here and do something for the smallest. If it's robbing somebody, slapping somebody, punching somebody, these cats would do it for the low, just for credibility, just to say, hey, I'm out here in these streets. This is what I'm doing. And check this out. They have their boy standing around the corner, record it, just to prove that they out here as a stick-up kid. You know what I'm saying? They out here goddamn taking people, robbing people, freaking doing whatever it takes. Hard to say, all you do is give the game. It's up to them to listen. Unfortunately, that is the simplicity of it. And why I say unfortunate, because the only thing you can do is help, tell them the game and hope that they listen. That's it. Because when you try to take it a bit further than that, and you seem like you're being a little bit over anxious or over aggressive, that's when they're going to try to come at you. That's when they're going to take offense to what you're doing. They're going to say, hey, man, I need for you to give me space because you keep on talking. It's almost like when you was watching Menace to Society, and when Jada was trying to get what's his name to go down to Atlanta, and they was procrastinating this, that, and the other. Old dog wanted to stay up there, but yet she was trying to take I forgot his name. It was trying to take him down to Atlanta to get out that environment. But since his past had caught up to him from beating down old girl's cousin, you know what I'm saying? They came back around hard. They came back around loaded. And this damn time, that's what it's about. These cats would do just that. Now I can say boxing is a social science quagmire. Because at the end of the day, always come back and said, I should have listened to you. Damn. And that's what we're trying to prevent. You know what I'm saying? Hodges, that's what we're trying to prevent. That's a good point there, Line Killer and Hodges. That's what we're trying to prevent, man. But hey, these cats, this day and time with a mobile phone and everything else to go along with it, they ain't trying to hear too much. If you ain't giving them money, if you're trying to show them the game and they just not getting it the way how quick, they not getting it in the most haste manner or the quickest manner that they choose to, they abandon what you told them and go out here and do it a different way that gets their ass in trouble. Instead of just freaking trying to learn the game the right way. It doesn't even have to be street. We're talking about education. We're talking about buckling up, getting an associate's degree or a freaking higher undergrad, master's, whatever, taking up a trade, getting a certificate in a specific job or something like that and making some legitimate money. But man, you can't tell these street cats. They have their own way of listening and tuning in. They would sit up there and look you in your eye, but they don't mean they're retaining nothing. Cat Taylor said, champion Adrian Broner and Floyd Mayweather have created images that has made them millionaires. Off camera, they are very influential. But off camera, they stick to their script. Facts. Gervonta Davis fits into the clique the same way. Lights, camera, action, except Tank temper is out of control. For real, on and off camera. Man, you ain't never lied with that, cat. You ain't never lied with that. And see, the one thing about Floyd Mayweather has been able to excel to a different level monetarily that a lot of them are trying to get to. All right. But the one thing about Floyd Mayweather, outside of him going to prison for what he did, for him, for whatever the findings, I'm not going into the details. I think he walked over there and found his baby mothers with another dude inside the house that he was paying for, whatever. Somewhat the same situation that happened to Gervonta. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of the same situation. But Floyd, of course, had to go in and do some time for that. It didn't matter how much money he made. He had to do some time, right? So now, not to put the burden on Floyd, but I'm talking about the connection that he has with Gervonta and Adrian Broner. Maybe, you know, he should be more of an OG to the point of making sure these guys have some type of stability. But then again, we go back to what was said earlier about you can tell them the game, but that doesn't mean they're going to freaking implement it the way you talk, the way you tell them to do it. Some of them don't have patience, man. Some of them, they'll sit there and nod their head and say, okay. And time they leave the scene, it's over. Line killer say, also to this point, the kids are being directed in a manner where everyone around them motives have to be brought into question. They have very true friends or allies. When he fails, they're gone. Boxing, the social science. I've read that. Line killer say, you have parasites, manipulators, and traps. Parasites, manipulators, and traps. Your defense against this have to start at a strong mind and serious mental social development. Davis has the utterly complete opposite of this. And, you know, speaking of Davis, I don't, dive into the psychological aspect and the maturity of these people. I don't really judge off how they talk, but I can judge off their actions. And these cats are out here making some crazy moves in life. And it's not just, okay, you have black fighters out here screwing up. All right. But in this particular scenario, I'm just speaking about the ones that's in the media right now. Adrian Broner and Gervonta Davis. Even though Gervonta Davis' situation has moved forward a little bit and he's already been locked up, posted bond, he's out, right? He's still gonna have to go back to court for that. And then you turn around, Adrian Broner leaving Vegas in handcuffs and then turning back around and getting a DUI in Miami. It's just too much. Like, people still gonna say, man, I respect AB for what he did. I respect AB. I never said that I didn't disrespect him. But as an older person in life, right, I shake my head in a way where I've had some interactions with AB that I just don't quite understand why he wouldn't be more mature if we never had a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to look at him for what he's used to. He's probably used to moving people like that. Whoever he chooses to, show attention to, he does. Whoever he don't, he attempt to try to make you feel like you're less than anything he's ever encountered in life. That's fact. Seriously. It don't have nothing to do with the interview. It just has something to do with just common, hey, how you doing, champ? And I will have to say, when he was down here with Gervonta, he was in good spirits. Seriously, he was talking. He was in good spirits. And then if he's around somewhere else, it's different. So it's different with Adrian Broner. I've seen him on several occasions. One thing about AB I make light of, he never goes from the script, y'all. Adrian Broner, just like Katz mentioned, Adrian Broner, he sticks to the script. It's the script. That's what he does, y'all. Lights, camera, action. When it's time for him to perform and get in the boxing ring, he say, I'm going to fuck them up. He's on script. I'm going to fuck them up. They can't fuck with me. I'm in the best shape of my life. I beat that boy. He's on script, right? But then outside, I just don't know why they have to keep on spending money if they're all about making money. If you're about billions, why give away thousands all the time? Why give away thousands to the jails, to bond, to fines? Why? Makes no sense. And I can throw Conor McGregor in there too. Conor McGregor has been known to act like a nut in many occasions out in town. We saw Adrian Broner punch a dude, right? Supposedly knock him out. Conor McGregor took a phone of a fan and smashed it. You know what I'm saying? Conor McGregor, you imagine Adrian Broner punching an old dude in the club? Guess what? Conor McGregor did it. And Conor McGregor is a professional fighter. He punched the old dude in the local pub. Old dude. Conor McGregor has jeopardized the life of his freaking colleagues by throwing a dolly at a truck. He has jumped over the cage and pushed the referee, had no respect for the guidelines of the organization. And this was in Bellator. You know what I'm saying? He's crossed the line with talking about people's family and religion. It's not just freaking, Broner and Gervonta out here acting a fool. It's other people out here doing the same exact thing. Lion Killer said, unfortunately, at this interval, moving forward, the only way for Davis to learn is the hard way. I believe Davis should face some form of sanctioning of domestic situation that occurred. You only learn through experience such as this. Take the money away, give the time away. Lion Killer say Broner is about seeking attention. There's a hole in that kid's heart. And you know what, Lion Killer, I just hope that the hole or the space, the void that Adrian Broner has, I believe I hope he gets it together real soon. I hope Adrian Broner get it together, because those ain't my kids. But how I grew up, other people was in charge of other people's kids. They basically said, it take a village to raise a child. So let me help you out. Let me help your kid out. It was a time where if you didn't go home, if you went home and your parents weren't there, your neighbor would invite you in. You know what I'm saying? If you walked home from school and your parents wasn't there, your neighbor saw you, they say, hey, you come in here. You want something to eat? Okay. That has changed. We live in an isolated society right now. Everything is about mobile phones, calling up the next person. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? It's no mentorship, man. It's nobody out here that's giving a hug. It's nobody out here that can keep the brain span. You know what I'm saying? Just keep their attention. It's just bad, man. And just like Lion Killer said, you only learn through experiences. And God damn it, those experiences are sometimes life-changing. Sometimes those experiences are goddamn life-changing, right? Kat said, champion Adrian Broner gives heavily to the people. Heavenly to the people. He walked inside of Walmart and threw stacks of money in the air. That's his signature. A lot of people frown up at that. Hey, Kat. But I'm going to tell you, Shouty. I'm going to tell you right there, Shouty. Hey, my age, I'm not saying that, if I was in Walmart and Adrian Broner came in there and threw money, that I wouldn't make a move. You know what I'm saying? It's according to what he's throwing up. If I see 20s hitting the flow, then I might, take a little bit of action. I don't give a damn what nobody say. If it's 50s, of course, no hesitation, man. Of course, if it's hundreds, I'm pushing the cart into the crowd and I'm goddamn loading up. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest. That's his money, though. I mean, if that's his way of giving back, that's having people fight and scramble over money. That's how you do it. Kat said champion Broner does not have a void he's trying to fill. Well, I think what Lion Killer's trying to say is when he was in the process of growing up or something, he may have a hole in his heart that he may have wanted his life to be different, whatever that aspect was, and it wasn't there for him. If that aspect was leadership from somebody or having somebody to lean on or being, wanting to be in a different environment, it depends on what a hole can be. We're not, that depends for everybody. Up top, we don't know what someone's thinking. We don't know. But when you see them act out, and just say 15 years from now, Bronner is much older, then he may finally come out and say, you know what, man, I did some dumb shit back then, and I can't even tell you why I was doing it. But I think it kind of stemmed from, when I was growing up, I didn't have this, I didn't have that. I choose to do it my way. It wasn't always the best way, but it was comfortable for me, so I continue to do it. And then, as I kept doing it, I ended up getting in trouble again, and it kept on repeating itself. It became an omnipresence. Everywhere that I went, I was getting in trouble. You have to get to a point where you have to make a damn sound decision, man. But appreciate the points there, Line Killer D. Hodges, Cat Taylor. But man, we just hoping that Gervonta Davis and Adrian Broner get it together, because they are well-known public figures in the ring. And the first thing people are going to say, and I don't like when people say this shit, they look at two people like that and they say, fuck them. Let them keep doing what they're doing. You can't, that's just something I don't like doing. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know, man. It's just something about giving up on a kid or a young adult that may be crying out for help, but they too tough to even break down and say, you know what? I need help. Can you help me? This is outside of them being forced to ask for help. I'm not talking about the force when you're at the perimeter and you have to be forced to ask for help. I'm talking about you doing it on your own free will. That's what I mean. Sir Ken say, being 21 don't make you grown. Hey, you ain't never lied. You ain't never lied, man. You never lied. And Cat Taylor. This is kind of a caveat to you, what you said. When there's some people that grow up a certain way and they may not have individuals in their life that's supposed to be there, because everybody's lifestyle is different growing up, right? Some of them have two parents in the house, some of them don't. And then some of them live in freaking the worst impoverished environment, and others have affluency. And some are just, marinating in the middle class. They're getting by, just enough to say, okay, we good. This is why I don't like just telling the kid, fuck it. I'm gonna use me for example, right? And this is straight from the heart, right? This is why I don't believe in just saying fuck a kid or young adult without really knowing what's going on. When I was growing up, right, coming from a very strict household where the belt was swinging all the time, and I consider, looking back on it, in my opinion, it was abuse, right? But that what happens in the South. But this is what I'm getting at with individuals that's not willing to help a kid or show them any type of way that's beneficial to them, right? So being that I was taking punishment at home all the time, being a little kid, I started acting out and doing shit on my own. Now, a lot of people look at a kid and say, well, you know better. No, it's not the fact that we know better. Sometimes it may have an underlying reason for the fact that we're out here doing what we're doing. So I started acting out and shit, doing what I was doing. So when I started getting in those trouble, I had closer interaction, even more severe with my pops. You know what I'm saying? And my mother. They started just acting like, well, you're not this kid, you're not doing this. You're not doing this the right way, this, that, and the other. But what I always thought, I said, when are you going to start taking accountability for what you do? Because if you wasn't doing what you was doing, maybe I wouldn't take the corners and turns that I chose to. And I'm not using it as an excuse. I'm saying if I'm getting my ass beat, you know what I'm saying? And kids start acting out, and the people that you believe that should be there for you, they're the ones encouraging the belt to swing even more frequently. They're not even trying to talk to the adults that's swinging the belt. They're sitting up here going at the kid because the kid is acting out, and they believe that is the primary resolution to gain control over their kid. And that's not it. Part 2, church. You have people in church supposed to be mentors, right? But then they're the ones who, knowing that you're getting your ass beat in the household, and then turn around and keep encouraging it. They keep on going to your parents. They keep on getting your ass beat. They keep on saying, hey, come over here. You know how many times, hey, come over here. And every time another person internal to the church that's supposed to be helping you out, they call you over there to your parents and tell on you. So for those of you that's turning, I know it has some people that I grew up with that's tuning into this. Once again, I do not give a damn if you're watching or not. But check this out, though. For those of you that sit up here and call a young kid over to his parents, knowing what was going on in the household, and that kid wasn't even really doing anything. Very small, minuscule, right? But all because you felt some type of way about their parent and you didn't like their kids, you felt the easiest way to go was through their parents, so it affected the entire family. Down to the kid. Do. Hold on for a second. So the parent discipline the kid. The kid get mad at the parent, and the house is in disarray. So therefore, with the kid, once it's all over with, they remember the adult that told, and then they remember the next adult. But inside of that, you're in church. You're supposed to be there for the word, the sermon, right? So we're getting our ass whooped, and we're supposed to be in the house of the Lord. Who are we disliking at this point? It's not God. It's not the fact that God is the problem. It's the people that's inside the house of God. Growing up in an environment where you expect your parents to know better, that people are manipulating them, then it becomes a point where you really start acting out like, okay, I'm trying to explain to you what's going on. I'm trying to help you understand that I'm not as bad as you think I am. So just think about this, right? You're 11 years old, 12, you go through the preteens, right? 15, 16, let's say 15 years old. These same people that's supposed to have been mentoring you in the church, when you have gone off into the military, 20, late 20s, coming back in with family, these same individuals are still treating you as if you're that same teenager that was getting in trouble. They still got some bullshit to say to you. And they wonder why you go at their head. Because you're walking through the door with kids now. You're walking through the door with your kids. You know what I'm saying? And they still sitting up there having negative shit to say. And I'm saying all this to correlate to Adrian Brown and Gervonta, while I look at it a little bit differently. Because what I experienced with two parents in the household, I'm telling you, it was fucked up in a way that it was a lot of contributing factors. You had your parents, you had the environment of going to church every week, you had the individuals that was in the church, and then being inside the house of God where you're supposed to be somewhat protected. It was anything but that. So when you grow up, you leave and go out into the military, come back, and people are still trying to treat you with disrespect. And these are people that's been in that church since it was raised up, since it started. So you have a lot of people to look at who basically didn't contribute to your life in a positive aspect. That's all I'm saying, man. It was absolutely one of those situations where I wanted to tell my parents, like, hey, I'm not acting up because, you know, I'm bad. I'm acting out because I think y'all whooping ass for no reason. Like, you have to think about what you're doing with these kids these days. You can't sit up there and beat their ass and slap them in public and embarrass them. You can't do that. You cannot do that this day and time. You know, me sitting up here having relatives, I would just say relatives, some of my relatives that really being to the fact that I'm the first one to have the kids, right? First grandkid and going off in the military. Hard life for the first 5 years, right? You have relatives that also growing up down here in the South, they have a problem with people that's going in the military, or they want to look at you a certain way because you've been away from Atlanta for over 20 years. So that's why I look at Adrian Broner and Gervonta. I'm like, I wonder what the factors are in, you know, what they experienced with their parents. Because that is the hole that you have in your heart. Like, man, if I could run it back with my parents, you know, how would I approach this situation? You know, if you grew up in an era where the belts were swinging in public, you didn't have social media, you didn't have internet, and you had to deal with your parents all the time. And what's even more crazy, right, is that down here in the South, when your parents gave the principals permission, who was racist, right? And I'm not just saying that just to put it up there as a period, but you have principals that used to call your parents back in the day, and we had paddling down here in Georgia, and they would sit up here and tell a lie on the kid, right? And you had parents, once again, it's all about strict discipline. So that principal call your parents and say, hey, so-and-so was doing this. And you're like, no, I didn't. And then the principal's like, see what I'm talking about? He's disrespectful. Do you give me permission to paddle him? So when your parents give them permission, you get a paddling from someone who's actually out to cause you harm. So we get abuse at school, right? Then we leave school, go back, and then get a whooping at home too. So therefore, when you're talking about what's heavy on these guys' heart, I don't know. They may have a lot of scars that they hold from their childhood. But not at one time, I didn't think I knew where I was going once I was out of high school. You know what I'm saying? But I don't sit up here and think about what my parents did and how they did it. I mean, I just, you know, I'm thankful that I was able to get up out of that situation. But to be honest, I was cut from a different cloth than those that I grew up with. I was much tougher individual than those people that I grew up with, because I always knew I was going into the military and getting the hell up out of the A when I graduated. Time couldn't come quick enough. But my whole point for the individuals that's supposed to have been there to be a listening ear and to give me guidance, they didn't do that. Not at home and not in church. But look, they'd be the same individuals to run back and tell my mom, hey, I heard so-and-so on social media saying this. That's what type of people that I had to deal with. They would sit up here and run and tell your parents. And the whole dynamic of those individuals that's supposed to be mentoring you are gone. So you grow up with no mentors in the church and at home, and you really have to go out here in the life and meet individuals that really embrace you and bring you closer and teach you the game. It's up to you on whether you want to receive it or not. It's totally up to you. You might be so fucked up that you say, I don't even want to hear shit, until you're forced to. And in my situation, I was forced to listen to someone. I was forced to listen. That's why this situation, we're talking about Adrian Broner and Gervonta, kind of sits differently with me, because the person who told me, that changed me around, was this major. right? I was getting in all this trouble in the Corps, freaking acting out and shit, not against people, but I was just in my own lane. I was just doing me. But I just didn't like people doing the same thing that my parents did in the Marine Corps, like talking down on you and not allowing you to be a grown ass adult, right? So therefore, when my son died, right, I was in trouble, man. Like I say, this is freaking it. Like I'm like, this is it. Like I asked for a son. I asked God for a son. He gave me a son, right? So when my son passed away, and I didn't know what life insurance was, I went in there, and once again, those individuals that supposed to have been teaching me about life didn't teach me nothing. Because when I went out on my own, I didn't know shit about life. I didn't know absolutely nothing. So when my son passed, had no life insurance, I went there, asked the military for help. They was giving me a run around and being difficult. This talking about an organization that I contribute to, right? So finding out how the whole funeral process, even in the time of mourning with my son, people were still acting crazy. The people that you, right? So this major tells me, he said, look, I understand. He said, first of all, you know how to stand in a position of attention, because I had to report in his office and be in a position of attention. This is in the process of me getting arrangements together for the death of my son, right? So he's talking to me. He said, listen, I understand. I'm sorry for your loss and everything. And I have to talk about, what you just did or whatever. It wasn't anything big. It was just more so being in a situation where I didn't believe I had to do something specifically. And being that the person was talking down on me, I kind of was disrespectful and tried to plead with them to be respectful, and they didn't want to do it. So they wrote me up or whatever. When this major told me, it changed my life. He said, you got a death in the family that really don't have anything to do with your Marine Corps life right now. What I want to do for you is not really talk about what's in the moment, but I want to give you the opportunity to think about your future. Because nobody that I've spoken to have talked about your work ethic. They say you do your job and you do what you have to do. They have no problem you going above and beyond. At that time, I was couriering messages to the Pentagon. I had a top secret clearance. I mean, I was living the life. Like I was experienced to something I didn't quite grasp, right? So this major tells me, he said, I'm going to tell you something, that you have a bright future ahead of you. When you are coming into my office and the people are basically saying that you're working diligently and you're a team player, that sits well with me than anything else, right? Then he said, we're going to have problems. We're going to have situations where we're not going to agree with one another, but there's ways on handling it. Say, if you want to, digress a little bit and come back at a later time and talk to the individual, do that. But at your rank, Scotty, at your rank, you need to come up with an alternative plan on how to react to people. So I'm up here kind of telling him, he said, so what exactly happened? And I'm telling him briefly what happened. He said, why is that? And I told him, I said, well, I'm kind of still holding a lot on my shoulders from leaving home and stuff like that, right? So he said, okay, I'm gonna give you another chance to basically walk out in life and be productive. You're the type of Marine we would like to have as a career Marine. Your PFT score is high. You square away in your uniform and you do your job. He said, if I sit up here and reprimand you right now, you're gonna lose your clearance. Then you're gonna go to your son's funeral feeling some type of way around the same people that you say that had this situation going on when I was growing up a kid. He was talking about my parents, right? He said, you're gonna have all that on your plate. And then you're going to look back at me and say, God damn, Even when I had a son that passed away, the major didn't even give a fuck about me. And he said, to me, that bothers me because I've seen a lot of people that come from bad situations up in here, young Marines. And it seems like all they was looking for is someone to speak and talk to them and provide them with some knowledge that they can take and move forward productively. And when he told me that, he said, I'll give you opportunity there, White. He said, when you get back from taking care of all that, I'm gonna make sure you get the funeral arrangements. I'm gonna make sure that you get in touch with the Red Cross and all that, right? He said, when you get back, I still need for you to come see me and we're gonna have a talk. I still have to give you your punishment. I'm gonna hold off on your punishment until you return. So when I went down there and I had the funeral arrangements for my son and everything, I came back to duty. I went in there, reported in to the major, and he talked. He was talking about, so how did everything go? Did you get this and that taken care of? I said, cool. Yes, sir, I did. He said, what's your plans right now? And I was like, you know, it's this, that, and the other, right? So I'm still waiting for my punishment because in the Marine Corps, you can have a bad situation. They still punish you, right? He said, listen, this is what I want you to do. I just want you to write me a 3-page letter on what you plan on doing while you're in the Marine Corps. I say, shoot, he want me to write? Cool. But at that point in time, that was cool with me because I was kind of doing that anyway. I said, all right, sir, fine. He said, I want you to write a letter and I need that letter by in the morning. I was like, in the morning? But I'm thinking about what he gave me. He gave me an opportunity to fuck it off or meet his request because he's already gave me an opportunity. I went in there and wrote the letter. I read it to him. He said, White, you dismissed. I don't want to see you in the office again. I'm not going to put any paper in your book because if I get you in trouble, I'm going to restrict your top secret clearance and that's going to be it. So I was like, cool. You know, I was grateful to God and everything. I stepped out of that and that kind of changed the way I looked at things. You know what I'm saying? Like this guy gave me an opportunity, didn't know me. You know what I'm saying? And in the process of my son passing, and he didn't have to, but he not only gave me words of wisdom, but he told me very important tools that I was an asset to the Marine Corps. He said, you should try to make this a career. I think you would do well. And here I am, barely freaking 20. It was a learning experience, man. Anyway, I'm just talking a little bit off topic. DBMA said, I have noticed the increase of videos popping up with the urban minorities being shown. Sorry to hear that. No doubt, no doubt. DBMA say, occult in a horrible state, but it's all distraction, people. Ron Finkley, salute. Salute to you, man. DBMA say, okay, I just updated. This is what I meant. It was TMZ. It was 2 black guys that got caught. I caught it and sent it to them, not condoning what Davis did, but I'm saying, where's the same energy for Wilder? Well, you know, mainstream media, we're talking about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about what's the headlining topics. You know what I'm saying? What's going on in the media. And also I talk, you know, mixed martial arts and all that other stuff. But this right here is a good point to start and keep on the surface because more and more is talking. I mean, more and more is coming to light. And I didn't let y'all know, but Top Rank released the email, right? I don't know if y'all seen this email. Let me try to pull it up for you right quick. This is how I know the social media. The ripples have now turned to waves because Top Rank has released the email on Tyson Fury. Let me pull this email up right quick. It's a joint statement. So this was just released today. Just released today. So I'm not saying this from mainstream media, but this is in quote. A joint statement from Queensberry Promotions top rank MTK Global regarding Tyson Fury. March 16, 2020. Due to the publication of a number of misleading and misrepresentative statements and articles made by third parties relating to Tyson Fury, the following statement is made jointly by MTK Global, Queensberry Promotions. Tyson Fury is the globally recognized, frame it, the globally recognized #1 heavyweight in the world and current lineal WBC and Ring Magazine champion. Okay, all the accolades out the way. Tyson is contracted to a third party with former WBC world champion Deontay Wilder. All they talking about, he's contracted for a trilogy. Any statement made regarding negotiations, talks, venues, or any other bout should be disregarded. Top ranked MTK Global and Queensberry Promotion have and will continue to work closely in conjunction with each other to deliver Tyson Fury the best opportunity to enhance his career earnings. This will require each party, as well as Tyson Fury himself, to continue working together as a team to explore and negotiate any and all future possibilities. The collaboration has thus far seen Tyson Fury enter into one of the most lucrative contracts in boxing history, become a global phenom, and reclaim his rightful position atop the heavyweight division. I really don't need to go any further, but you can kind of see, like, the portion that really meant something to us is them identifying what we've been talking about. Is that small, right? The gap is minimal, but more so they want to highlight and kind of give a PR for Tyson Fury. The boost is his character. You know, they kind of turn up the low wattage bulb that's flickering right now. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to provide more halo structure for Tyson Fury because a lot of people are talking about it. But that's the email that they released today. Real talk. Finkley say Tyson Fury is going to get this work. Oh, he's getting the work, man. You know, and it's just not any kind of work either, man. It's just not any kind of work. This is not work that you just, you know, just creating that the fighter cannot relate to. Nah, this is work that Tyson Fury himself is attached to, you know, from history, having a history of doing this shit. Finkley say, Hodges, we got time, bro. Salute. Bro, Finkley, no fights to talk about. Ronald, he using life experience to portray what may constitute David's actions. Oh, you're talking about what I was talking about earlier. Yeah, I was just talking about why I'm not so quick to jettison Gervonta Davis and youths around, because this is the way I look at it. Like, a lot of people look at me with a military career and they would say, you know what, we ain't gonna give him that much attention. You know, he an old school type of dude, blah, blah, blah. But yet, if they were a dude that's basically been locked up, or basically can talk about they was in the streets, and they can relate to that because they know, they have familiarization, then they would say, oh, he cool. He cool because, you know, I got some friends that was locked up. I do too. I know some people that's locked up too. I know one of my real good friends that I used, me and him rode several races when we was running bikes. Really good friend of mine. He ended up shooting a dude in the head. You know what I'm saying? Really good friend of mine. He ended up blowing the dude away. But what I'm trying to say is, it's just sometimes people have that open area where they're never gonna have that shit filled. You know what I'm saying? They're never gonna have that shit filled with what they're looking for, because it's too open. Like, you can't even provide any type of medication you know, you can't even buy any therapy for it. That's why I look at it like I can't sit up here because they're out here doing this shit, and I'm trying to find out why is Gervonta doing what he's doing. Is it the way he was raised? You know, because I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was a youth, I was in the streets too. While other kids was waiting to go to school, I was in the you know, I was out driving my parents' car, learning how to ride motorcycles up the way. That's how I learned how to ride motorcycles, man. I was driving cars in elementary. That's real talk. I was driving cars. To be honest, I was driving cars like in the 5th or 6th grade. You ask yourself how? Hey, just ask my mom. My mom my mom went to the freaking school for a teacher's conference, parent-teacher conference. She comes outside, her car gone. I go to the elementary school. I attend the elementary school. I'm the reason she's there for a conference. She comes outside, I'm driving around the block. I'm chilling. I come back to the school, my mom's sitting up there. You know, back then, no cell phones. She's sitting up there with her hands on her hip. And that's the first time she actually seen me drive a vehicle. She was like, what? You know, my mom in church, she probably cussed that day. She's like, how in the hell my car going with my 2 kids in it? How in the hell is my car going with my 2 kids in it? Looking back on it, man, I would have been hurt. Like if I would have came up and the car was gone with my kid in, I would have been like, oh, hell no. But me coming back down the street, driving around, and I didn't even park the car where it was in the beginning. I drove the car up to where my mom was at in front of the school. It's just certain things people went through in this day and time. People act like they got to tag you for being locked up and taking the L in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like it's good that you don't know too much about me. It's good. I'm gonna tell you, I ain't no fuck nigga. You know what I'm saying? I've been around. I've seen a lot. I had to endure a lot, but with maturity, you know, I act a little different. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to freaking tell you. You know, you got people that will be a part of the church, right? And they really supposed to crack open the Bible and be about that. You know, just raise these kids up in the way they should be. But yet they see a catch, you know, like Adrian Brown, Gervonta Davis, they'd be like, let God handle him. Let God deal with him. You can't let God deal with anything. You have to deal with it. God is a spirit. So for you to just relinquish yourself and just say, fuck it. I'm not dealing with them. I'm gonna let God handle it. I just think that's a cop-out. What happened to the saying of village? It takes a village to raise a kid. It takes a village to raise these kids, man. Y'all have to understand that. It takes a village, man. Hard to say. Drug abuse and cheat. I hate hearing this name. Shaking my head, and I like him first. I need the Jaheim, the singer, just went in on Tyson Fury. Jaheim, singer, just went on Tyson Fury. DBMA said Cunningham also updated. He has a video showing how his take on the glove issue and make it perfect sense. Just all the other videos are making perfect sense. Yeah, I saw the video on Cunningham that made. It was a solid video. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad he put it out there. Like I said, I can make a video if I want to, but I have other things I need to do. I'm glad you asked me that. Okay, here go a person, right? Whatever your name, Roger Wrong, whatever you want to come up here and put a name up here. He said, LOL, why is he doing what he's doing? Why don't you ask Gervonta that? Why are you asking me? I just sit up here and told you, I can't sit up here and tell you what he's doing. I can just only say from my experience, there may be an open-ended space mentally that he has to deal with on a daily basis. Come on, man. Be better, bro. Have you ever been to West Baltimore or where he's from? I'm glad you asked me that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, when I was hanging out in Baltimore, my first duty station was in DC. My wife was around the Maryland area. You know what I'm saying? I went up to Baltimore back in the 90s, man. So y'all, look, y'all young cats coming here and talk to people like we ain't been around the block. I was down in the northwest side of DC. I was in DC when things was really popping off. I'm from Atlanta when the games was popping off when I left, and they were still going down. I had some good times up in Baltimore and some trouble times too. But absolutely, I used to go up in Baltimore. It was a drive for me. If you go on one of my lives, I forgot what live it was. I talk about going to the movies up in Baltimore where they was smoking and everything. They was eating. It was just like a goddamn cookout up in there. You couldn't really see the movies because everybody was up there doing what the hell they wanted to do. Yes, I spent mad time up in Baltimore. Hopefully that answers your questions, man. I grew up in WSB. This is just every day, my man. The only difference, Gervonta famous. That's why, you know, I understand you're probably from that area. But hear me out. Roger, I can call you. Check this out, bro. I drove from down here from Atlanta 11 hours up to Baltimore to see Gervonta Davis fight. I drove 11 hours, bro, on my own dime up there to see the man fight. By myself. I know about Baltimore. It doesn't have anything to do with me not growing up in Baltimore, but I have history up in Baltimore, believe that. And, you know, much respect to you if you grew up in there and you survived Baltimore, for sure, but I ain't making this shit up. I was stationed in DC, and I used to make frequent trips up to the Baltimore area. No one is just late, just getting facts. Hey, man, they always like to tell older people, hey, man, you ever did this? You must be late. Man, hey, man, I'm woke. I'm woke just enough, man. You know, check with me in 10 more years, man. Shit might be a little bit different. But right now, I'm woke to a lot of shit that's going on. I keep it boxing and MMA related. That's what makes them stupid, shaking my head. I just don't like how they're so quick to expose a shine on selected dark moments. And what is more shocking is the people behind it giving the information. That's media, man. We live in a media-centric era. You know what I'm saying? That's what we thrive off of. Look, how many of y'all have a phone and the first thing you do, you wake up, you check your phone? That's what we did. That didn't happen when I was growing up. You woke up, your ass got ready for school. In the summertime, you woke up, whatever parents was working, they was gone. Seriously, it wasn't no food left on the goddamn table. You woke up, and if your dad was the one that's working, he was gone. He was done. If your mom had errands to run, you know what I'm saying? Either if you was too young to go, if you was too young to stay at home, boom, you was gone. But if you was in a family of, you had some older brothers and sisters, whatever, your ass got left at home. You know what I'm saying? She ain't gonna be carrying your ass around in a cart until you learn how to walk and stuff like that. But yeah, man, we live in a media-centric era, man. D-Hodge just say, what happened in the dark always come to light. So why is Wilder still in the dark? Look, we know just a strict situation that's going on with Wilder right now in boxing. Teddy Atlas said it. The fact is, Wilder doesn't fit the composite of the acceptance from people. That acceptance being the way he speaks, the way he looks. You know, he doesn't give that Shakur Stevenson friendly look. You know what I'm saying? He don't have that extra layer of accent that separates him from being a black man. Like, people look at Joshua, they look at him as a Brit. They don't look at Joshua as a black man. That's point blank. They don't. So when you look at Deontay Wilder being from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, people look at him different. So you can see how boxing is still divided when you walked into the Staples Center and you heard them booing. They was booing Deontay Wilder, the American champ. And what Tyson Fury do? He came in there with the red, white, and blue, imitating Apollo. You know what I'm saying? He came in there making light. It was a party for him because the U.S. fans at that point in time, a lot of them was gullible. They wanted to be Brits. They want to have the accent. You know what I'm saying? For that moment, they up there and all those fake ass people that was booing, they was up there. It's like, yeah, Tyson Fury, we root for him all the time. So where are you from? Oh, I'm from London. I'm a Brit. You know, everybody was just booing the wrong person. So we said, okay, that was the Staples Center. So I was trying to explain to people right in these groups. I say, look, Deontay Wilder is only being booed when he's facing somebody like Tyson Fury, right? He didn't get booed that way when he faced Bermane Stiverne. He did not. When he stepped in there with Luis Ortiz, he didn't get booed like that. Absolutely not. When he stepped in there with Dominique Brazil. Absolutely not. He did not. He returns to the MGM Grand and steps in there with Tyson Fury again, and guess what happened? People booing that man like he don't even deserve to be in the ring with Tyson Fury. And Deontay Wilder is the champ. They booed that man like he was the one that was the prior drug cheat. They booed that man like he had domestic violence, like he had been locked up, like he had bitten somebody's ear off, like he had cocaine issues. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that you can put off on every other fighter, they was acting like Deontay Wilder was that guy. It's disgraceful, man. It's disgraceful that a lot of the hate and discontent that's coming post-fight about Deontay Wilder, a lot of his black people that's on the media that's sitting up here finding it easy for them to chime in on Deontay Wilder when they didn't support him in the first place. And then, you know, the people that's jumping on World Combat Sports, that shit ain't gonna do, man. Look, a lot of that shit's not gonna do anything to me. Real talk. A lot of that off-topic boxing shit, you just want to come in here and be a troll. Put on a pack and go to combat and see what it's like for somebody to come out with a freaking rifle round in them. You know, lose some friends. Talk to somebody one day, and then 4 days later they pass, they dead. It don't have shit to do with the streets. It has a lot to do with what goes on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Everybody have their own story. I get it. But this little petty new school type of shit that people just getting ghost accounts and come on here talking shit, nah, that don't do anything for me. I may entertain it periodically, but that don't do shit for me. But I do appreciate the support of y'all coming over here, man. Real talk. Exactly. He don't have households, commercial look. It's sad. And though I know a little bit more about, you know, the household, you know, the way Gervonta grew up in Baltimore, that's not something I choose to talk about. I don't choose to talk about that today. I mean, I met his mother and everything. I just don't choose to talk about that shit. Richard Fake TV, salute, man. Thanks for dropping in. He said, how do you feel about Ryan Garcia calling out Gervonta Davis on Twitter? Do you think this fight is going to happen before the end of the year? I'm not sure if it's going to happen at the end of the year because Gervonta Davis has to go through Floyd Mayweather. It's all about who Floyd Mayweather want him to fight. It has to be good for money to benefit Floyd Mayweather first and Gervonta Davis second. Floyd Mayweather first and Gervonta Davis second. Now, him calling him out, I always think combat sports, verbal sparring is good. I do. I think it's good because if you're in the fight game, why not talk shit too? You know, I think it's good for Ryan Garcia, you know, with a record like that, 20-0, to go over there and face Gervonta Davis. If he believes he's next and he want to go beat the man, why not? Any other person, they would tell you, hey, man, you need to step up. You need to be great. In order for you to do that, you need to fight the man. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And I think that's the kind of attitude that Ryan Garcia is showing. Ryan Garcia is basically saying, I would like to face Gervonta Davis. He's supposed to be this guy. I'm going to tell him I'm the man to beat. You know what I'm saying? What's wrong with Ryan Garcia doing that? I hope it happens. I want Ryan Garcia to prove me wrong in a way that I don't think he can defeat Gervonta without that jab. If he's just thinking about speed, you have 12 rounds, 12 freaking rounds to keep a savage off of you. Gervonta is a savage, hands down. So I would like to see how Ryan Garcia handles that. I like Ryan Garcia as a fighter, man. It's good he's calling out Gervonta Davis. Seriously, it's good. It's good for boxing. Be hard to say it wasn't Fury fans. They just Wilder haters. Yeah, a lot of these people there, Hodges, like we talked about, a lot of these individuals, they don't support Tyson Fury, but they are excited to vilify Deontay Wilder because it's easy topic of discussions. You know what I'm saying? Like I posted a thumbnail in the group, and the only people that responded negative was the black members, right? So I'm like, I never even met these people before. So why are they responding? And they're not even talking about the fight game, boxing, the history. All they're doing is say, he got his ass beat, deal with it. He's a bum. He don't have anybody on his record. They wasn't even really saying, you know, comments that you can take for thought, food for thought, and say, okay, I like that. That was solid. They was just dogging the man out personally as a human being. Nothing to do with his daughter having spina bifida. You know what I'm saying? You know, him fighting for his daughter. Nothing about him being an Olympian. None of that shit. None of it. It was just straight vilification. And then you act like certain people can't come up here and speak for justice. If Tyson Fury is a cheat, we can't go ahead and talk about it. Because if we hate using, look, as a black man, I don't like using role reversals when it comes to situations like this. But people have to understand, if you're black, you can speak as situations that you experience in life. You can speak about situations you experience. Don't act like we need permission to speak about situations that we experience. Here we go, the race card. It's not a race card. It's what we actually are witnessing right here, right now. Why, if Deontay Wilder having pissed off the whole motherfucking globe, why would he sit up here and get booed in the Staples Center? Why would Deontay Wilder get booed at the MGM Grand? Why? You trying to say it's a West Coast, East Coast thing? He didn't get booed at the Barclays. You know what I'm saying? Why are the American U.S. fans, when he was champion, didn't show that man the common respect? We shouldn't see that in UK. When Anthony Joshua was a champion, pyrotechnics and everything else, smoke and all that shit was popping. They was cheering the hell out of Anthony Joshua. They didn't care if he was Nigerian, you know, half Nigerian. They didn't care. Half white, half Nigerian. They didn't care about that shit. All they know is his residency in the UK, and he's one of their primary fighters, the cash cow over there. That's all they want to know. We're going to make sure he get highlighted as one of the best in boxing. Tank going to hurt Ryan. We'll see if it happens, man. DBMA said, I don't think Garcia will be able to handle Davis' power. Although Garcia has speed, he has to keep up through the middle rounds, so he's going to hurt Garcia. Man, you know, from a person who's seen Tank Davis, the only thing I can say outside of his troubles, man, dude's a savage, bro. Serious. It was entertaining to see Gervonta fight. Like, to go in the deep waters, like it wasn't like Gervonta hasn't went the distance. He went the distance early on in his career before. Well, it's been a while since he went the distance. He was just knocking dudes out. I'm just curious about Ryan Garcia's power. I mean, speed. If he's able to maintain keeping Gervonta honest with that speed without using the jab consistently. And once he feels Gervonta go to the body, because, hey, one thing about Tank Davis, once he gets that shit going, the track's moving on both sides of the tank, and he start dropping bombs on your ass, I'm just curious to see how Ryan Garcia is going to handle that shit. That's all. I want to see how he's going to handle it. Rich and Faith TV said, so is this Fury cheating a real thing, or just something the media is creating to build the next fight? Rich, you playing, right? What you mean? What part of cheating, bro? Be more specific. I can't really talk on an open-ended. Cheating in what facet, man? Be more specific there, Rich. DBMA says it's very real. To answer Rich, D Hard say, how can people dispute video? Rich, he knows better. I'm not sure why you asking an open question talking about this is a real thing. Come on, bro. Do better than that, man. Don't get me started. Don't get me started, man. I'm gonna give you the opportunity, goddamn, you know, like, be more specific in what you're talking about. DBMA say there's always a lot has been spoken on the subject matter. It's all over different platforms. The only platform that is not available is main media ESPN. True. Absolutely. That's true. True words. That is absolutely true words. Hey, Rich, man, what you talking about, man? Or you just came over here to play around today, man? What's good? Well, we'll see how the next week play out, man, with Adrian Broner. He's definitely going to face some type of repercussion for getting that DUI in Miami. And like I said, Gervonta Davis, you know, I hope he get it together, man, because I'm not here to petty and babysit grown-ass men, and especially grown-ass men that really, if you really try to reach out to them, if I were to walk up to Gervonta Davis and Adrian Broner, and I have walked up to both of them. Y'all know that too. It's been some good experience and bad experience. I have to keep it 100. When I ran into Gervonta Davis, when he was absolutely, listen, look at the picture with me and Gervonta. When I ran Gervonta Davis by himself, cool as a fan. Cool as a fan, man. Talking, cool as a fan. I have another story about Gervonta on the plane. I'm going to keep that shit to myself right now. But anyway, when I see him, you know, when he was in Baltimore with his security, whole different light. Whole different light, man. So I look at it this way. I've had positive and negative experience with both of them. That don't mean I'm going around here, you know, hating them. I definitely want to see them succeed. That's real talk. But I say amongst the athletes, what we need to stop doing is that, once again, I'm talking from experience for myself. What needs to stop happening is you have black fighters who may not like another a part of media or whatever, black media. So they'll sit up here and tell another black media, you know, don't talk to them, don't do an interview with them. The way that particular media spoke with you and you know what I'm saying, you didn't have a good vibe, doesn't mean everybody is interviewed the same. Every fighter interviews differently, and you have to understand that. Every fighter is different. Some fighters, they can give you nice, solid content, And other people, they don't. They just, you try to dig and make it an exciting interview, and they just don't want to give it to you. You know what I'm saying? D Hard say they're sweeping it on the rug. They trying to, man. Rich say, I'm speaking on the glove issue. And how would that stop Wilder? I'm not understanding what you're saying, man. How would that stop Wilder? The towel stopped Deontay Wilder. The towel. The glove issue is from the first and second fight. Rich. And these questions are just too easy, bro. Look, Rich, I expect more from you, man. I'm going to be honest. I expect more from you coming here and answer these questions. For somebody who's trying to cover boxing, I'm just saying, I'm just keeping it a buck, bro. Like, the questions you asking seem real casual questions, man. You know well as I do, you have internet and you have freaking time to research this stuff. If you went out here and looked up the glove issue, you would see that it's video content out there. It's plenty of YouTube videos. And I think we even talked about this. And how that would stop Wilder. I don't know what you're talking about stopping Wilder. The fight was stopped from Mark Breland throwing in the glove. Throwing in the towel. The glove itself is just video content that's out there of Tyson Fury potentially having his hand in the wrist part of the glove, not all the way seated up in the glove, and using his knuckles to slap. If you look at my last thumbnail, I put a thumbnail up there where Tyson Fury is hitting Deontay Wilder with the palm of his left hand. That does damage, man. If you got knuckles in the wrist part of your glove with no padding, what is the padding used for? To protect the fighter. Protect the fighter who is wearing the padding and to protect the fighter that they're contending against. That's what it's for, man. DBMA say that's the ring. It was not the glove, but what he did with the glove. Hey, Rich, if you want to come on the live, man, let me know. If you got any questions, if you want to come on the live, let me know, big homie. You know what I'm saying? On the live, man, while it's hot. But the glove issue ain't going anywhere. That's, you know, they released a statement that I just read about Tyson Fury. So obviously people are tuning in, people are making light, and it's a lot that's going on behind the scenes. DBMA say, but there's no such information on what has happened to Wilder. Now that is impossible right now. This is for anyone not to know about the glove situation and what happened, both fights. I think when people ask about, you know, what happened, is this cheating thing, man, come on, bro. Come on, Rich, man. I expect more from you from that. I should text you right now and say, man, stop playing on my channel, man. It ain't just a glove issue. That's one of the issues. The glove, the hand placement, the tactics that was used, and also who all knew about it that was in that corner. Who is all guilty? Because if the recording and the video went out to the freaking dressing room, then guess what? We was able to see everything in Deontay Wilder's dressing room. Everything. But then you get a person that's trying to put a towel or a shirt over the camera, and then they unplug the camera, and don't nobody want to talk about that shit. Like, why was the damn video unplugged, man? Why was it unplugged? Why is it anything being talked about as far as the visual being disrupted? Everyone in the corner. You know, even freaking Sugar Hill coming here giving those vague answers on the boxing voice. J-Rod, how do you feel about J-Rod not taking a rematch? How do you feel about J-Rock not taking a rematch against Jason Rosario? That's not such a big deal. If he's not taking a rematch, good on him. If he need more time, that's good. I'm not in a hurry to see Julian Williams get back in there after being stopped the way he was. I'm not saying that to be contradicting about the way Wilder was stopped. You know, I think about things like this, right? I can't say, well, I'm not looking to see Julian Williams step in there because of the way he got stopped. And then Wilder got stopped, but I'm looking forward to see him in the trilogy, right? The reason why I'm not in a hurry to see Julian Williams is because the way he was stopped was in brutal fashion. Like Julian Williams, when I seen him step in there with Jarrett Hurd, I was like, damn, ain't nobody in the 154-pound division can beat Julian Williams. Nobody. I say the way he looked against Jarrett Hurd, I said, shit. That dude, if he continues to fight like that, he's going to be reigning for a long time. And then he comes back, and at the end of the second round, his mouth was open. He just didn't look right. So one or two things happened. He either had an injury in camp, or his game plan strategy fell apart once he was in there with the bigger, stronger fighter in Rosario. If he doesn't fight right now, he want to just get himself together, cool. But of course, if Julian Williams has other plans, you know, Jarrett Hurd, he still haven't taken a rematch. You know what I'm saying? Jarrett Hurd hasn't came up and said, you know what, I want to fight the champion. Jarrett Hurd didn't take an immediate rematch with Julian Williams. We thought he was moving to 160. When I saw him out in Vegas, I wish he would have just been cool about it instead of saying he wasn't doing interviews. And then when he steps outside, you know, you have all this media waiting and you saying, oh, I can't tell you. Y'all just wait. News coming. So a week after that, I think, he comes down and say he has a fight coming up at 154. So all that time, you could have told us that you're not moving up to 160. The fact remains, he did not ask for an immediate rematch with Julian Williams. Okay, moving forward. Julian Williams, he doesn't want an immediate rematch with Rosario. Cool. Let's see Rosario fight somebody else. Period. Where's Charlo at? Seriously. I want to see one of the Charlos fight somebody, man. I know he just came off Tony Harrison, but I want to see him unify the division. I mean, what's the excuse? There's no excuse, man. Go in there and get it done. You know, that's the best opponent. Nathaniel Gallimore gave Rosario the work, right? Who we going to see? Rosario face Erickson Lubin? I watched that. But right now, the Charlo, you know, the WBC champion, it would be good to see him face and try to unify the junior middleweight division. That's what I want to see. D-Hut said, I feel him. He got whooped. Sometimes you need a pause in between fight. I want Rosario versus Charlo to unify. That's what I'm looking for. I want Jamel Charlo, Jason Rosario, man. I want Rosario. J-Rock has minor medical issues. Have his procedure, get healthy, and get back. Yeah, man. You know, don't rush in here to take another L. Make sure you're healthy. Have a good training camp, and let's see you again, man. D-Hard just say, Sir Ken, salute, bro. D-Hard, salute. Then the same side of the street, easy to make. Yep, it is, man. I hope it gets done. I hope it get done for real. But if it's I don't want to be selfish, man, because Lubin, I know that Lubin is very anxious to get back in there and prove himself after that stoppage. He's very eager. You know what I'm saying? It'd be even better if he can face, you know, Charlo that knocked him out. I don't know how many times I hear people saying, Jamel Charlo knocked out Lubin. I say, man, all right, cool. You know, you have to let him ride. All right, man, I can't tell you anything. But I would definitely like to see either Lubin freaking Rosario, Lubin, Jermell Charlo, or Jermell Charlo and Rosario. I definitely would like to see that. Truly, I would like to see that fight. Because I want to see Charlo step in there with somebody such as Rosario, who's on the roll right now. He has the momentum. I truly want to see if he's able to do that. I want to see him unify the division, man. Come on, unify this. You will have one more belt. If you get those belts, you will have to go for the WBO. That's it. You will be good. You can call yourself undisputed there, Jermell Charlo. They ain't going to be able to fuck with you after that. They're not going to be able to fuck with Jermell Charlo. You ain't going to be able to tell him shit. If he go in there and get the fight with Rosario and then go over there and fight Teixeira, man, that's it. That shit is just on a whole nother level for Charlo. And then he can go back and have that trilogy with Tony Harrison. You know what I'm saying? That's if he'll be willing to do that. That's real. But with J-Rock, man, I hope he gets healthy. Man, good dude, man. I hope he gets healthy and he comes back to the square. Seriously. I really want to see him back in the square, man. I was hoping, you know, a lot that he can reign for a long time. I really wanted to see him and Jerry Hurd fight again. I did. I wanted to see him and Jerry Hurd fight in a rematch. I did, man. And what y'all think about that Carissa Shields fight? Every time I ask about the female side of the house, right, I don't get any response. She's supposed to be fighting Marie Dakari. You know what I'm saying? This is Carissa having the opportunity to unify 154. Since we own the 154-pound division, you know, what about Carissa Shields, who's 10-0, 2 knockouts, facing Dakari, Marie Dakari, who is 17-0, 0 knockouts? Do you think, regardless if she has knockouts, this is going to be a pretty even matchup? You know what I'm saying? People sleeping on Dakari, or we sleeping on Carissa Shields? Who do y'all see winning that fight? And just don't say you got Carissa. Like, if you don't know about the fighter, cool, I understand that. But do you think that it would kind of change women's boxing a little bit? Because what's going to happen is, you know, she's the current IBF champion. And of course, the only belt that's remaining outside of what Carissa is holding, the WBC and the WBO, the WBA is deciding to toss a belt in that they haven't did in 99 years. So the WBA is going to toss in all the titles. All the titles, y'all. And look, if she's able to do it, she would join the ranks of B-Hop. You know what I'm saying? Jermaine Taylor, Katie Taylor. I mean, she would become one of the 7, man. The lucky number 7. And holding all the belts. What do y'all think about that fight? Man, y'all get quiet when it comes to the female side. Like, if Layla Ali come back, man, people are going to be coming on here like, shit, Layla Ali coming back, man. You know, damn, is she single? You know what I'm saying? The brother's going to be out here like, God damn, man, we're looking forward to seeing Layla Ali. If you want to talk about another shift in people rooting for Layla Ali versus Carissa Shields, man, I'm telling you, you're going to get the same effect that Deontay Wilder got versus Tyson Fury. I'm just keeping it all the way divine. You know what I'm saying? Layla Ali, being who she is, and being Carissa Shields, where she's from and who she is, man, you're going to have way more people cheering for Layla Ali. Way more people. because she has the name, she has the history, everything about her, man. She was at one point, you know, people's like, man, that is the face of boxing for the women's side. You know, they're gonna turn on Carissa Shields, man. Seriously. Unfortunately, you know, it's a bad way to think about it, but I'm just saying how divided we are, and that's what they're gonna do. D Hart says she is naturally the bigger woman. She's too strong for Shields. I agree, man. I'm just curious to see, you know, what weight class they're gonna fight at. The highest that Clarissa Shields has fought at 168. I'm curious to see what weight class. Like, where are they gonna fight? There's no way they can fight. Like, if they talk about $5 million apiece, unless a title on the line. A title has to be on the line. Something. If they just gonna fight just to fight, then maybe they can move up and weight. But I just don't see them coming back to the square, man, and just fighting for no strap, nothing. I will be there. This is not my only hometown favorite, but also an alumni. I don't know much about the girl from Canada, but Carissa is on one for greatness. I agree with that, man. Like, no cap. Like, people look at Carissa Shields and she's saying she the GOAT. But look at her accolades, man. 3 divisions faster than any male or female boxer is just amazing. You know what I'm saying? So, and she can box. Whenever she decides to come into her power, I know her trainer, David, he was saying that she's coming into her power, but she still went the distance with Habashin. So I'm still curious if it's going to be a point in the next year or two that we're going to see Carissa Shields actually develop power. You know what I'm saying? Layla Ali made a point when she was on ESPN out of the MGM Grand. She made a point to say that Carissa Shields throws all those punches and she has limited knockout power because she don't know how to deliver. She don't know how to properly execute the punch. She right or wrong? I don't know. But she said, I have knockout power. Layla Ali said, I have knockout power. And being out of the sport since 2007, they say power is the last thing to go. You know what I'm saying? So I'm curious to see if we're going to ever see this fight with Carissa Shields and Layla Ali. Man, I'm telling you, that shit going to be nice. I get a lot of flack about her and Layla Ali. They would have to fight at 168. Yeah, Layla made mention when she was in Vegas that she's over 200 pounds. So, of course, they'll probably have to fight at 168. I don't see Layla Ali dropping any lower than that, man. I don't see it. I don't think they're going to have 2 fight, Hodges. I don't know if Layla Ali, man, look, Carissa says she'll give her 6 months to a year, something like that, to get in shape, right? So if you take Layla Ali being 41, 42, tack another year on top of that, she's going to either be going on 43 or 43 years old. She goes into the fight, boom. For her to do a rematch, she's going to come back into the rematch. If it works out immediately, she may be potentially 44 years old. It depends on if she even wins the first fight. And I'm just assuming if Layla Ali loses the first fight, she ain't coming back for a second. She said, forget all that. I'm done. Oh, yeah. I know that, Ken. Yeah, they fight in 154. But what Hodges, I think, was talking about was like they're fighting at 168. Because, you know, for Layla Ali to drop all that weight from over 200 pounds, we really don't know if she's at, what, 215? You know what I'm saying? So for her to come all the way down to 168, shit. And get back in the gym, leave her business, damn. Free meals for students during the coronavirus. DB say all the main fights have been canceled. Most were in New York and California. They're shut down. Absolutely, man. It's bad. Like for me, I'm cool. Even though I'm doing, boxing media, MMA. I get it. But I grew up like this. Like I grew up when there was 3 channels. You know what I'm saying? Like I come from that era. This shit right here remind me of growing up as a kid. Like it wasn't hard as shit on TV except cartoons. And you had to go out and find something to do, man. Serious, real talk. Like this reminds me of when I was growing up. Like looking at Tom and Jerry, Road Runner, Scooby-Doo. Man, it take me back, man. The only thing I don't have is a TV with a coat hanger in that. Damn, they showing Midtown, man. That shit is empty, yo. That shit is empty. Wow. This is the best time to go get you a meal. They having people order food from outside in the parking lot and bring it outside. I mean, what's the point? Like you can still walk outside and catch something from somebody that's in the car. I mean, remember when the end of the day is meaningless, no benefit for Shields. If she wins, later too old. She loses, got beat by an old lady. True. But it's just the name. You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, George Foreman, he went out there and knocked up Michael Moore, man. People was like, yeah, he old coming into this fight. But after he put them hands on Michael Moore, he was like, shit, he the oldest freaking heavyweight at the time. He's the oldest. If Carissa Shields is able to pull it off, man, it'll be good to have Layla Ali on her resume. But I'm hearing back and forth, with Carissa Shields. She's pretty much saying the same thing. Like, if I beat her, they say she's too old. But then again, hey, in the height of the women's competition, the quality of the competition, they need somebody like that. They need a fight like this for both fighters to get paid in the millions. They need that. Can say, remember when the national anthem was played after the late night news? Man, I remember when they had the commercial, I'm just a bill sitting on top of Capitol Hill. I'm just a bill sitting on top of Capitol Hill. I'm just a bill. Man, no basketball, no baseball, no boxing, just people having too much time on their hands to come up here and troll on social media. You know what I'm saying? Takes me back to the 3 channels, waiting on Scooby-Doo to come on. Waiting on freaking Scooby-Doo to come on. Yeah, Disney World. Well, most of the theme parks are freaking shut down. You know what I'm saying? Most of the theme parks because of winter. But if you're talking about back in the day, I think Disney World was still up back then. Man, I'm going to tell you, Saturday morning wasn't no TV for us. Saturday morning, we had to get out there and do the yard. We had to cut the front and backyard. And, that's a good thing about it. At least, it helped, getting out doing something. You get the push lawnmower and you go out there and cut. I mean, I can appreciate that. Get out there. Kids today, they don't know nothing about the push mower. They don't know anything about cutting the yard, trimming the hedges, even climbing up on the house with a ladder. You know what I'm saying? Kids don't know too much about that unless you teach them. You ask a kid this day and time to climb up on the house, get a ladder, put it up against the house, man, they'll fall off that joint, man. Hey, can you go out there and clear the gutters? Clear the gutters? What? Clear the gutters? Man, I don't know what you're talking about. What's a gutter? Can you trim the hedges? Trim the hedges with what? Some scissors? These kids don't know shit, man, about cleaning the yard, man. My job was to go to school 5 days. I ain't doing nothing. Man, I'm not gonna lie. In school, sometimes I'm like, huh? Like, we got to carry around what, 5 or 6 textbooks? The Olympic boxing qualifiers for Europe will be suspended. Wow. James and Delorme is postponed. David Benavidez Showtime triple header on 4/18. This is next month. Is postponed. Wow. Man, we're gonna be seeing a lot of each other on social media, man. When y'all come on social media next time, man, look up some damn good topics, man. Some scenario-based topics. You know what I'm saying? Some scenario-based that demands someone to think a little bit, especially me. I live in Boston. We don't got fields up here. Shit, good for you, goddamn it. Because you know what? I drive through South Carolina. I see a lot of cotton. I have to hurry up, press the gas through there. I roll the windows up. I'm gone. The whole triple header next month is suspended. Wow. I'm looking forward to seeing David Benavidez get in there. I really want to see him and Caleb Plant, to be honest. David Benavidez, 22-0, 19 knockouts, man. He was going to fight a Turkey fighter, Yildirim, Yildirim, 21-2, 12 knockouts. And then the first step went through, which he hitched as Benavidez defeated Darrell via 9th round stoppage. We all seen that. So therefore, we're going to continue to talk about what's on the surface. This is interesting. Frank Warren disputes claim of payoff in Tyson's UCAD, which I was mentioning earlier. Of course, he's going to dispute it. I'm not. Hey, we still thinking it's alleged anyway. But Frank Warren disputes Mr. Carefoot, being paid off, and he didn't even get his money. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get up out of that. The car is 17-0, 0 knockouts, has never fought outside of Canada, racking up 17 wins to start her career. The car won the IBF title in December 2018 by taking the decision over Chris Namus. She's only had 3 defeats. Yeah, I pretty much looked at her record and everything. I understand she hasn't really ventured out. That's the one, the closet space of boxing, so to speak. There's a lot of fighters that are fighting in a closed region or whatever, and they're building up their records, and then they get the big fight. Hold on for a second. I gotta let my son in the house. son just came home. The kids are out of school, shut down. I don't see her beating Clarissa. I don't see it either, man. I'd be a fool to sit up here and think. I believe she seems to have a pretty solid base, big legs, hips. I know it's boxing, but I'm just saying she might have a strong core, and being that she's not facing a power puncher, she might be a tough, durable fighter. It may go the distance. I mean, Habashin was much more slim, skinny fighter, and she went the distance. So I'm looking at Dakari. I'm thinking that, yeah, she may indeed be able to go the distance, but I don't think she'll be able to outbox Clarissa. We'll have to see when the fight happens. David versus Caleb would be a fight that I really want to see. Man, I want to see that fight too. And if you've seen the video, I asked Caleb Plant about David Benavidez. He don't like the man. He believes he's the freaking easiest fight when it comes to unifying. Seriously, Caleb Plant said that. He believed David Benavidez is the easiest. And they have a history together. He really, truly, genuine don't like the dude. He don't like David Benavidez. It stems back from when David picked up the title and Caleb was like, hey, can I get that title shot, man? Can I get that shot? And something happened in between, Benavidez not owning up to his word or something like that. But, man, I definitely want to see that fight. Caleb Plant, he put on a show against Fegan Boots. He put on a show, man. And Fegan Boots, after taking that beating, he was just all smiles after the fight. He was doing this. I like, dude, man, he just put hands on you in there, man. And you seem like you all smiles. It's just weird. It's just real weird. That's all. I don't know if y'all seen that. Idris Alba, he has the COVID-19. He tested positive for the COVID-19. The president is rolling out a new plan to contain the COVID-19 virus. Let's see what they're talking about. Leon Spinks. Leon Spinks is 19. Let me see what this article they're talking about. Leon Spinks. Leon Spinks, the one that fought Muhammad Ali. That's the first thing they put. Leon Spinks, who in 1978 defeated Muhammad Ali to win the world championship, is fighting prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. Damn, that's not good. That's not good. That is not good. If it spread to his bones, that's not good. They saying Leon Spinks' prostate cancer spread to his bones. That's not good, man. I hope he's able to pull it out, but man, that is not good. So I was looking for collective articles that's boxing related. Okay. It's a new article out. Yahoo, Associated Press today. It says, title, anti-doping body ready to look into allegations about Fury. This is what I do, try to search for articles pertaining to certain topics. They say London AP, Britain's anti-doping body is expected to look into allegations. And the newspaper said he was offered money to provide an alibi. This is what we was talking about concerning Mr. Carefoot the other day. So this is the first time I'm hearing that, hey, Somehow, some way, they may be looking into it investigation-wise to see if there's any merit. It say he was offered money to provide an alibi in support of Tyson Fury's case. We know that. We know that. And of course, Frank Warren describes Mr. Carefoot allegations outrageous and a load of rubbish. We'll leave this with UCAD to look into and don't expect it to go any further. So Frank Warren is telling us, well, you know, UCAD can look into it, but it ain't going to go nowhere. We know how UCAD get down. But at least it's out there. At least this guy came out of the woodworks. You know what I'm saying? At least they came out of the woodworks. Of course, Mauricio Suleiman said that this particular issue does not affect them because Tyson Fury was not with the WBC at that time. That's a fact. That's a fact. He's right. Tyson Fury just won the freaking WBC title. That's a fact. I agree. I agree. I'm going to do one more thing and then I'm going to bounce. Schoolhouse Rock. Man, hey, Ken DBMA. Y'all remember Happy Days, man? Henry Winkler, the Fonz. Do y'all even remember that, man? The Fonz, Henry Winkler, Happy Days. Everybody at one point in time thought it was cool to just put two thumbs up and say, hey. Man, that's so old. Damn. Let's pray that Tyron Woodley over the UFC gets a last minute replacement worthy of fighting. His fight would have been a tough one against Leon Edwards. We've been looking to see Tyron Woodley get back into the cage after his loss of his title. You know, he was a welterweight champion who defended against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson twice, Damian Maia, and Darren Till. Now he's looking to return, and he was due to face Leon Edwards, who is now injured. So, of course, Colby Covington, who failed and came up short against Kamaru Usman in a title shot, he's talking. He's coming back to the mic, and he's saying he would like to be the last-minute replacement. And, man, those two don't like each other at all. At all. Tyron Woodley and Colby Covington don't like each other at all. So I'm wondering deep down if Dana White would even consider entertaining that. Because supposedly, quote unquote, Colby Covington was still recovering from his jaw injury because Kamaru Usman pretty much cracked his jaw. So now we play the waiting game and see if Dana White is going to say, okay, Colby, you know, we'll see. It's not going to benefit if the COVID-19 strike is still in effect, right? Because it's not like he's going to sell out an arena. But just so the people can tune in, it'll be a good matchup for Tyron because the two despise one another. They have a real contentious history, and it'll be good to see them two step into the cage. Really. I would really want to see how both of their wrestling match up and their stand-up striking game. I don't think Colby is that much better than Tyron in the ground. I just don't see it. But I truly believe fist to fist, I think it'll be a good matchup. I think it'll be a good matchup because Colby Covington has some pretty decent hands, real talk. Tyron Woodley has some decent hands. So being that they both have a wrestling pedigree, we'll see what negates what, man. But my people, fam, it's been a pleasure today, man. I'm about to roll up out this camp. Y'all continue to hold it down. Appreciate everyone who dropped through all the time. And, you know, follow me on all social media platforms, YouTube, IG. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on IG. Until next time, turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports.